Bears! This is Bear Blast, the official podcast of student life at Mott Community College. Whether you're new to campus or have been here for a while, this is your spot to catch up on what's happening, hear real stories from students and staff, and find new ways to get involved. From events and campus tips to student success stories and special guests, we're here to help you make the most of your time at MCC. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Bear Blast. Today we are talking about balancing leadership and academics. I'm your host, Alyshia Turner, and I just wanted to give you a quick introduction to some of our guests today. We have a few guests here from SPAC and maybe one alum, so I just wanted to say, can you guys introduce yourselves and share the leadership roles that you hold on campus?
Hi, my name is Grant Morrison. Currently, I am co-chair on the CLEF committee, as well as a member of the SPAC organization here at Mott.
Yeah, my name is Jenna Morrison, and I am currently a University of Michigan Flint student, a Mott alum. And when I was here at Mott, I was a tutor in the Writing Center. I was the president of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, a member of SPAC, and a member of the CLEF committee.
That's a lot.
Yes, it was a lot.
Hi, I'm Mahmouda. I'm an international student and I'm a member of the Presidential Student Advisory Council, and I work as a tutor at MCC Peer Tutoring Center.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Welcome. Especially those that have been on this recording before or on this podcast before, depending on the versions that we've done of it. So I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with me today. And this is going to be a good topic, I think, because it's going to be an opportunity for you guys to share your leadership experience in higher education and get a little bit out there as far as tips and maybe talk about some challenges that you've been through. So I know that all of you, either at one point or another, have been a part of what is called SPAC, which is the Student Presidential Advisory Council. Can one of you tell me a little bit about what that organization is?
So the Student Presidential Advisory Council, we work with the president. So currently we're working on getting information from other students about how we can improve campus life and then directing that directly to the president to try to alleviate some of the confusion and middleman.
Nice.
Basically, we're like collecting reviews from the students that what facilities do we have from Mott and what do we think about those opportunities, and are we able to use that as well as the administration level. They think that they're doing this opportunity, or they're giving this opportunity for the students to use them in that way.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, thanks, guys. I just wanted to get a little bit of an idea of where you came from. And it sounds to me more or less like it's a little bit of a pipeline from the student population to the president as far as reviews and feedback and things like that go. So it sounds like a really good program. I look forward to hearing more about it. So my question for you, or at least one of my first questions for you, would be what motivated you to take on leadership positions while being a student at Mott? Why did that make a difference in your life, and why did you decide, let me add this to my already busy schedule that I have as a student?
Yeah, I can go first. I came to school right out of high school, and it didn't work out for me the first time, so I took a break for a couple of years, and when I came back, I just made a decision that I wanted to take advantage of every opportunity that came my way to grow as an individual, just kind of figure out my place, what I was good at, maybe where I needed to grow. And so every opportunity that came my way, it was sort of like I said yes to one thing, and it opened the door to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And that's how I ended up getting involved in so much. I was taking an English 101 class and was making use of the Writing Center as a student, and the professor approached me afterward and said, hey, I think you might be a good fit to be a tutor. And I just kind of jumped in head first, and then from there, the SPAC became an opportunity, and then CLEF and PTK, and so yeah, just kind of jumping in head first, really before I knew what I was getting into, but just wanting to make the best use of every opportunity I had, because I only get one shot at it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think something to take away from that for sure right off the gate is, saying yes is the first jump, right? A lot of us have a lot of insecurities about whether or not we're qualified, or if we think we can do it, or if we have enough time, or whatever else might be in the way of that. And I say this to my friends and family a lot, like the only person that's in your way is you. for the most part, right? You're going to come up with every possible excuse not to be involved because you have X, Y, and Z going on. But you guys we have a diverse group of people in this room. We have a mother, and we have people who are married to each other. Like there are a lot of differences that will come up and a lot of things and challenges and whatnot. But really the first step is to just say yes to things. Like you said, it starts to spiral after there. So you want to kind of keep it under control a little bit. You don't want to get it too out there, but enough for you to manage. And you picked the things you felt you could manage, right? Yeah. So I think it's tailorable pretty much, and hopefully tolerable. So it really depends.
And you will be more confident about yourself because you will explore new things and you will be able to modify yourself and be more confident.
Yeah. That by itself is very important. Confidence takes you into a lot of different directions. So it's important to kind of make sure that you acknowledge those differences and try to figure out, where you fit in best, because there's a lot of stuff that can throw loops at you for a lot of different things. But what about you guys? Do you have any influences that helped you in leadership or decide to take on leadership?
For me personally, I definitely think once I joined CLEF committee and I received the co-chair position, and I've had to step in a few times this last semester when people were out because they were sick or other responsibilities, and lead those meetings or run them. And it's really taught me it's forced me out of my comfort zone. That's definitely not something that I've been used to. So having that experience has made me a better leader in taking charge and running a meeting and stuff like that.
That's good. So you mentioned CLEF. For those that don't know, what is CLEF?
So CLEF committee basically handles the funds for clubs inside of Mott Community College. So if you have some sort of event that you want to take your club to, you would come and present to us, and then we would vote on whether yes or no for those funds to be given to you.
Nice. And you do it kind of on a formal format, right?
Yep,
Robert's rules?
Yeah, we use Robert's rules to run our meetings, and we normally have them on the first Friday of the month, each month.
Nice. And any groups, any clubs or organizations can come and present to CLEF?
Yep. We've anything from the anime club to dentistry club, all around.
That's really cool. I like it. All right. Well, how do you personally define balance when it comes to school and leadership and your personal life? Obviously, you all have very different personal lives. So how do you find balance in between those things and manage that to what works for you?
Personally, I have found that keeping a weekly journal or writing your plan out, I'm very bad at planning for things. So definitely that has been a big help. Just being able to look ahead on your week and recognize I have this coming up, this coming up, this coming up. I need to focus today and get these things accomplished before, if I didn't write them down, very easy to forget what your responsibilities are.
Right. Yeah, no, I've definitely noticed that. I'm terrible at journaling, so good for you. I've tried that. Let's just say I'm up there in age, and I've tried for years and years and years to be able to journal, and I cannot make it work for me. However, what works for me is a calendar. Google Calendar is that is my sole focus every day. My calendar and my email. If it's not in there, I'm probably going to forget that I have to do it, right? So there's good time management things in there. How about anybody else?
Yeah, I second the Google Calendar. I use Google Calendar. I segment out my email accounts, so I can look at one inbox at a time, so I can see my school email versus my personal email and stay more on top of things that way. Same thing with the Google Calendar. I have events under my personal email account that show up in a different color, and it helps me kind of see it all laid out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a big list maker also, so I have tons of lists all the time, way too much to ever accomplish, but it's all on there.
Yeah. Are you a person who is, out of curiosity for myself, are you a person who goes top to bottom in the to-do list, or are you more of a jump around kind of person?
I would like to say top to bottom, but really I'm not. I might start with the first thing, and then I got to take something from one room to another, and then I'm a squirrel. I'm totally onto something completely different. I might even be doing something that's not even on the list. But
or adding things or doing something. This is my favorite thing that I do. I'll do something that's not on the list, and then I'll add it to the list so I can check it off.
100%.
I do that all the time.
And for me, I always start with the easy things so that I can feel more confident that, I'm done with 2 things or 3 things, and I have the hardest thing.
Then you have the hard things that slow you down.
I'm more confident that I was able to finish those things. Now I'm able to do this.
Yeah. No, that's good. Starting prioritizing. I think it works different for everybody, right? We're not all going to find the format that works for everyone.
I just don't want to mess up with my brain to start with the hard one.
Right. Yes. That's a good strategy. I like that. I'm always a person of lists, and I find that if I don't have it on a list, I will definitely not do it. And it's not more or less because I forget it. It's because it's not on the list. I think that's a very, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's a very type A personality sort of trait. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of students who are in leadership happen to fall into the type A category. Not to say that it's not open to other categories, but I feel like that's those who are prioritizing certain things over others. And so in that case, that brings me to my next question for you guys. Like, how do you prioritize between your academic work and your leadership duties if a conflict comes up? Like, what takes precedent and what's important to you, or how do you manage both at the same time? You know, what is a strategy that you have? Maybe somebody else can also use that.
The first thing I would always say is email your professors. If you have something coming up in your personal life that is causing you stress or taking you away from academics, email your professor, let them know what's going on. I found that 9 times out of 10, they're more than willing to work with you. Yeah. They understand that you're not just a student, you're a living human being who has work and family and things to attend to. So don't be afraid to reach out to your professors. That's definitely where I would start with.
Yeah.
Like every problem have a solution. Like maybe it's not going to work like the way you thought, like it will be, this solution will be like this, but still it's a solution. Yeah. So you will find a solution for your every single problem.
Yeah, it's all about working with your professors in that moment too. Because one thing you don't want to be, and we talked about this in the last episode, like you don't want to go to your professor and be rude or entitled and say like, well, you owe me because I pay you kind of situation. We don't want that because one, that's hugely disrespectful. And the only way you're going to get respect and consideration for what you're going through is if you're returning that respect to that professor, right? And they're always, like you said, they know that you're a human being and that you're trying. And obviously we don't want to make excuses for why we can't do things that are not relevant excuses, right? Mm-hmm. And our reputation has to precede us. We have to make sure that we are held to a certain standard if we want to be treated at that standard. Mm-hmm. So I think that those are really important things too.
Like last semester, I was pregnant and I had those leadership activities, and I also had like academics because I was taking 5 courses at that semester. And I did my finals earlier because the final, normally fall semester finals is like around December 17th to 18th. So I was due on December 3rd. Wow. But my baby wasn't like coming up early. So I did my finals on December 13th on a Friday. And then I felt like, oh, I'm relaxed. But unfortunately, I had an accident on that evening, and then I had my baby. So still, like, it's worked out because, like, I did my finals earlier. Otherwise, maybe I had to do my finals with, like, one day old, my baby, like, with my one day old baby. So
in and of itself, incredibly stressful.
Yeah. And also during my pregnancy, I had to go to ER like multiple times. I had a blood clot in my lungs. So I did my exam, like my midterm, like, I changed my schedule and talked with my instructor and did my test from the testing center because there is the opportunity. If you miss the exam, you can always get a chance to do that exam from the testing center. Yeah. So
that's a good way to start first. Obviously, priorities. You got to make sure what's important to you. And obviously for you, family comes first, right? And then you would have to figure out how your academics can work around that. But what other kinds of things have you had to either compromise or figure out on how to balance both?
Yeah, I think there have been times where on top of just regular like meetings or things that we're doing in clubs or leadership opportunities, there are extra things that can come up along the way that might be really great opportunities. But I've had to say, you know what, that would be too much for me to take on and just kind of say no to the extra things. And I haven't had an opportunity yet where I've said no and looked back and like, man, I really wish I would have done that. And because saying no enabled me to get my homework done and keep my sanity. So, I think prioritizing, for me, my academics always have to come first. My leadership roles are important to me, but I am like a student leader. So my academics need to be in order. And so when I'm thinking about taking on something additional, looking at the whole picture of where am I going to fit that in? How's that going to affect my grades? Or am I already too stressed out? So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I think that from my perspective as an educator, I come into it when I see somebody has incredible potential to do something great, or I want that student on my team. And then I asked Jenna and she rejected me. It's okay. I got over it. But I come up with those things where I'm a little bummed out because I'm like, oh man, I'd really love to have you on my team. But at the same time, I understand. I've been you before. I went through college the same as you. And so I have to look at it from exactly what you said. They're probably trying to manage their time and making sure that they keep their sanity at the end of the day. I feel like that just at my job. So I can't imagine having to work and do school and have a family and do all these other things and try to keep them all in line. So that's a really good point. Another question I have for you guys would be, what advice would you give to students who want to get involved in leadership but fear that it will impact their academics?
I would start off definitely so CLEF, for example, you don't necessarily have to have a leadership position to be a part of CLEF. I think definitely just stepping out and just becoming part of an organization or a club first is the best step, and just get your feet wet. Don't walk in there and being like, give me all the responsibility. Right. Let me do everything. Take baby steps, work your way in, and then that's where you're going to find your balance. Definitely a little bit goes a far way versus just trying to take it all in at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I think with CLEF in particular, as the example, would be like, you can just be on the committee. You come in and you sit and you listen to the presentations, and then when they call a vote, you vote whether or not you think that that is a worthy cause to support financially. And so there's not a lot involved. Plus, you get free lunch, so it's pretty nice. But it's a good thing to help with your resume. There are benefits for you being on it. And in some organizations like SPAC, it is scholarship based. On CLEF, it's volunteer. So it really depends on what you want to put on your resume for when you go to the next organization or job or whatever. Say, for example, if you're in business and that's your path, your degree path, then you're going to want to do something like CLEF, because CLEF has numbers and it's about money and it's about making high financial decisions that are extremely important to the college's success. So that'd be something you want to put on your resume, whether you get paid for it or not. It's still a good opportunity, right? So having those balances work out really well. So how about you guys? Anything that you would say, if somebody's a little timid and they're like, well, I can't because XYZ, or well, I can't because I'm afraid that I might fail my classes because I'm not paying attention enough. What would you say for advice?
Just be sure that those leadership roles will change yourself, because you are not confident enough about yourself. You are not flexible. You don't have that adaptability. So if you take that step, and then it will change your life. You will be more flexible. You will be more willing to do work. You will be more willing to take role and just go on.
Yeah. I like that. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it from that perspective. Make sure whatever you're taking on is actually going to make a difference for you. And obviously we can't just hope that it happens magically. You're going to have to put some time and energy into it. So remember that's going to be the case. You're going to have to dedicate some of your time. So if you don't have the time, don't do it, because you don't want to sacrifice your academics for that. But I like the way you put that. That was really cool.
Yeah, I think like we talked about before, it's really just about saying yes and kind of jumping in. I think it's easier to talk ourselves out of something than into something a lot of the times. But if you have this desire, it's something you want to do, and you have all this doubt, whether it's about time or how you're going to do in your classes, sometimes the fear of jumping in and taking something else is it's keeping us from seeing the reality of our situation. You probably do have the time to maybe take on something extra, but it might mean less time on TikTok or less time on YouTube. Or I think sometimes we become blinded to where the things that are time sucks in our lives. And a lot of things, you can definitely go too far and get too involved in things and run out of time. But a lot of times, the time is there. Mm-hmm. It's just, we're blind to where it's evaporating.
Yeah. No, I think that is right on the head. Because for me, I think watching some students they're always the first thing that they say, oh, I just don't have any time. But you're right. And most of that time is spent on the internet and scrolling on your phone. I mean, I'm a millennial, and I even come from a generation that's on their phone all the time. So I know everybody that's coming up in the college age, with the exception of a few people who are not a part of these generations. they're still probably on their phone. And I remember this last week, I've been looking a lot into gardening lately. That's going to be my pastime this year and my hyperfixation. But I think that one of the big things I've been reading a lot about is like, stop making excuses that you don't have enough time. There's always time. Even if you have 10 kids, there's time. Or like incorporate that into your family schedule. Like, hey, we're all going to do this garden together type situation. Or you have, when it comes specifically to academics, like if you really want to be a leader, you will make it happen. Like you're going to eliminate that extra scrolling time, or you're going to find places in the morning or in the evening where you can dedicate to certain activities or agendas or whatever it is that you have to do. And I know as SPAC members, there's a lot on your plate, plus the extra stuff that SPAC puts on your plate. And you prioritize though, and you organize it really well, and you make sure that it fits into your schedule. I would say that's a second part to that first step of saying yes, is like, don't say no. It seems obvious, but there's always a reason. There's always going to be a reason why you think, well, I can't do it. If you eliminate that part and you say, but what if, maybe that will help. Maybe that will encourage you to kind of tip yourself off the ledge a little bit. Or maybe you need some accountability. Maybe there's a friend out there that can help you with that and push you a little bit.
Yeah, well, and also there are a lot of opportunities for leadership here, especially at Mott, that are like volunteer based, or like there's no long-term commitment. Like you can just jump in and say yes, and then realize a month or two into it, you know what, I really don't have the time. This is too much, or something else has happened in my life. And there are no repercussions for taking a step back. Like any situation where I've needed to take a step back, or other people on my boards have taken a step back, the faculty or the people leading the groups, they're like, I applaud you. Like that's also a part of being a professional and being a leader, is knowing when you have to take a step back. So there's really no risk.
Yeah, being self-aware.
Yeah.
Making sure that you know your limits.
Exactly.
Yeah. How has being a leader improved your academic skills and or vice versa?
For me personally, it's definitely helped with accountability. I mean, my grades, I won't go into specifics, but they weren't very good a few years back, especially, before COVID and during COVID. But recently I've been making strides and gotten myself back over a 3.0. And a lot of that has to do with taking on responsibilities from leadership and being held accountable in those positions, and realizing that I'm also held accountable in my academics. And if I'm going to hold myself accountable in this aspect, it needs to be all around, or else it's not going to be true.
Yeah.
And also, like, we are talking about, like, don't think, like, you don't have time. You just, like, need to take a step. So I was being, like, I think, like, these roles made me being, like, more, like it improved my time management skill. Now, like, maybe, like, before then I used to do my homework and also, like, talking with my friends or something like that. Now I'm, like, more focused, like, oh, I don't have that much time. I have to do other stuffs too. So I was more focused with my assignments. Now, the same assignment I used to finish, like, within 1 hour. Now maybe I can finish this, like, within 30 minutes. So I'm going to save, like, 30 minutes. And I started using, like, proper use of my time.
Yeah. Your time management skills improved, things like that. Yeah. I think it's important too to consider the fact that we're not suggesting that you overload yourself with stuff and take on so much that you feel like you are drowning and that you can't say no. And, those things are always possible. But obviously for most of us, at least those that have been in leadership before, understand that you learn eventually what you can and can't handle. You might not know in the beginning, but after a while you either improve on those skills, like you said, or you say, okay, I can't do it. I got to stop. I got to try something else, or maybe I need to readjust and take on a different role. Or you can be like Jenna and do every single thing on campus all at one time. But I think that's a good point.
Yeah, like when I first came here, because I didn't have anything to do. I just had class, and I was not, like, I'm an international student, so I'm not allowed to work, so I don't had any job. So I just had my school, like, 4 classes, and then I'm done. Like, weekend and even, like, every single day I have, like, 10 to 12 hours. Like, I have nothing to do. So I used to do my homework, like, a single assignments. Like, it takes, like, 7-8 hours, because I was talking with my friends. I was talking with my mom, and then I was doing my homework. Now, when I started getting into those, like, leadership roles, now I have some stuff to do. Now I have my baby, so I'm
Right.
started using the time like
Yeah, and it's grown in a different direction for you now.
Yeah.
First, you didn't have anything to do. Now you have too much to do. So, but I do remember when you first came into student life, I had just met you, and you literally, I remember you saying to me, I just need more things to do. Like, I'm here, I'm doing my work, but I'm not allowed to have a job. I don't have anything else to do. I want to be involved. Like, what do I do to be involved? And I was like, you're going to regret that question. No, I basically just said, welcome. Thanks for coming and letting me know that you're interested, because I have plenty of places to put you. Don't worry. We've got lots of options, but I think it really comes with the person's personality too. Like maybe you come into a leadership position and you're like, this is too extroverted for me. I can't handle it. I don't want to talk to people this much. And that's okay. Like you said, like Jenna said, like making sure that you are talking to your professors and you're being transparent, or the staff that you're working with, and just saying like, hey, this was not what I expected it to be. Mm-hmm. And I am less comfortable now than I thought I would be. So I think I'm going to say no thanks. And you just kind of back out. Or maybe that professor or that staff member can say, okay, let's tailor it so it does work for you. Like, because the last thing they want to see is that you quit doing something that's good for you simply because it doesn't fit the way that you're comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. So they're willing to make, sacrifices and or help you to adapt to some certain situations, or maybe just change it altogether, which is nice. Yeah. A lot of instructors have really good opportunities like that, and especially and staff here too. Like we're at a point now where we would rather tailor it to what works for you than have to beg people to come and do leadership roles. Like if it works in not how we've envisioned it, but for you want it to be changed slightly, or you say, hey, I work better in this style. We're adaptable. We try it out just because we know that it will not only help you, but it will also help us. So yes. We're never going to be without the questions for sure. What is something that you wished you knew before taking on a leadership role as a student?
I think along the lines of what you were saying, like it's okay to take a step back. If you're doing too much and it's overwhelming you and it's affecting your grades, affecting your personal life, it's okay to say, this is too much. I need to take a step back.
Yeah.
I guess it seems obvious, but I wish I would have had a better grasp of you cannot do everything and do everything well. Yeah. If you spread yourself too thin, you essentially make yourself ineffective in all of your roles. Like you can't be the student that you want to be, the leader that you want to be. So you can take on too much. So just being more selective in really knowing yourself, what you value, what you are going into leadership roles for. I think me just having this, I want to take advantage of every opportunity. It's easy to get carried away because there are, in many respects, limitless opportunities in school. So being a little bit more selective about even just semester to semester, like this semester, I want to do something that's more academic based, or the next semester, more service based, just having a better idea of the values that you hold and that you want to grow through what you're doing. And then choosing the things that resonate the most with you and kind of capping it. Like don't get over involved, get involved enough, and then give yourself as much as you can to those things. And then you'll get the most out of those experiences. And then, like I said, next semester, next year, try something different. So I didn't have that foresight when I started to get involved.
It's just like the way you fix your goal. Like, this is my aim in life. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer. So try to find, because you know that you will be best if you become a doctor or if you become an engineer. So find that way. Like, is this role perfect for me? Just find who you are and try to go along with that.
A good direction instead of, being out there and dabbling a little too much. I don't think that there's a such thing necessarily as dabbling too much. I think it's good to kind of give yourself that culture and realize what works and what doesn't work for you, because that's the only way you're going to learn, right?
Yes, because then student life is the time like you get the chance to explore yourself.
Yeah. And things outside of the classroom, stuff like that, hobbies, interests, whatever it is. I think for me, I suffer from this like need to try everything one time, at least try it one time. And unfortunately, the second part of that is that if I'm not great at it the first time, I quit. And I hate to admit that about myself, but it's true. Like, I am so hyper fixated on being perfect at everything that I let distractions get in the way, and I'm just like, okay, well, if I'm not the best, then I'm terrible, and that's not the case either. Trying things a little bit, but not overextending yourself, not going too crazy with it, and trying to get more of a funneled idea of which direction you want to go in. That will really help you with your sanity, for one, and will also give you an easier path forward on time management, I think. And for us, I mean, all of us suffer from trying to be the best that we can be without taking into consideration that we're just human and we're not great at everything, and it's never going to be that way. But like you said, Mahmouda, if you like pick a direction you want to go in and just try to be as best as you can for that one direction, then at least you're going in or to the space that you want to be in, or to the career in this case that you want to be in. So that's really good. If you guys could change one thing about how leadership and academics are structured for students, what would it be? Maybe here, maybe just in general, or maybe at another school that you've been to. What do you think would be the best change or direction that academics could go in to help kind of balance the two things between leadership and academics?
I'm not sure if this totally gets at what you're asking, but I think in some ways the leadership opportunities, they're like behind doors, so to speak. Like, you have to make some sort of relationship to even know what's out there. And it's I think that is one thing that I wish would be a little more accessible or out there. I mean, in some regards, you get emails all the time about opportunities right. And you just have to read them. But there are some things like SPAC was, I think, how I found out about it was a professor, like mentor that I had, like, hey, this would be good for you. But if you didn't have, and perhaps it's changed now, but like if I wouldn't have had that relationship, I would have never known about the opportunity.
Right.
So I think
it's more of like a who you know sort of situation.
Yeah.
It could be more accessible if it were out loud slightly more.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree 100%. Same kind of boat. The only reason I knew about SPAC was because she was on
Yeah.
SPAC. And like, now that I'm on Clef too, I realize there are so many leadership opportunities at the school, and I had no idea until I was put in a position where I was forced to see it.
Do you guys have any, and this is just from me personally, do you have any suggestions on how we could make that transition? Do you think it's more like social media based, more conversation, more out loud, more billboards? I don't know, something like that?
I definitely think more of an online presence, especially like with how social media is so indicative of today's age. Like everyone has social media if you're under 20 years old. Yeah. So it's like, if you really want to reach these people, you got to go to the platforms they're on. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think that would be a way to go about it.
And I would say like building your network.
Yeah.
Like try to meet new people and try to find, like talk with them and see how they think about you. And maybe they will think like the way Jenna said, like one of her teacher.
Yeah.
Like
brought it up to her. And
because that teacher knows that she will be the best for this position.
Sure.
So if you build that network, so you will get more opportunities.
Yeah. And I think too, if you surround yourself with like-minded people as well, so like look into programs that every college has, like an honors program. Mm-hmm. If you want to be surrounded by leadership because you want to be a leader, then join the honors program and make sure you keep your GPA up. But that's like one step. And then and what I found specifically from my perspective is that once you join one organization, then that flows into the next one and into the next one. And like, then you end up like Jenna and you just say yes to all of them. But I do think that that's one direction to go in. And I know from your perspective, Grant, that we're working, as far as MCC goes in particular, we're working on the student life webpage, and we're going to have a whole page on leadership. So hopefully it's been in the works for a while, but we're hoping that we can have something that will connect us directly to things like Clef and SPAC and any other leadership opportunities like our honors colleges and programs and stuff like that too. So hopefully that will help too.
Yeah, and I don't think it's totally, like, it's not 100% on the college. Like, as Mahmouda was saying, you have to build your network. Like, you have to be a student that wants to see what's out there. Yeah. Like, it's not all in the college because the billboards are there. Like I said, the emails are there. You just have to take advantage of
Yes.
kind of like looking around.
Read your emails.
Yeah. And there's so much there. There really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Daily Mail comes out like every day. If you're an MCC student, like that's the one that you're going to see every single day. There's going to be connections, and it's a virtual billboard. So,
Yep. Yeah. So just, as much effort as the school is putting into putting it out there, you as a student have to be willing to put in just as much to look around
Right.
and see what's there.
that's one thing that I can always give advice on. I don't know if I'm the best person for it, but I definitely wish that people would tell me a lot more when I was younger. Like just own it. Like if you're making a mistake or you're making an excuse for something, like check to see if it's you that's the problem and then own it and just say, okay, maybe I need to do more. Maybe I need to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and stretch my arms a little and go to student life randomly one day and say, I need to participate. Give me more things to do. Maybe that's the case. But if you are an MCC student and you absolutely want to make those connections and you want to talk to us,
Just come to a student life.
yeah, come to Student Life, and our doors are always open. We're in the Curtis Mott building. Room 1129 is the common room, so you can come in. You can talk to me, or you can talk to any of our student employees. We have 10 of them, so there's plenty of people to chat with and see how you can get involved and what you want to do with it. But there's always great connections. We can connect you, like I said, to the Honors College, which is not a part of Student Life, but we know the people who are in charge of it, and like we walk through all of what SPAC is and things like that, and we can help you make connections. You just have to take that first step, because I'm not going to go around, in the hallways and shout like I'm a paper boy. I mean, like, who wants to join? But I think for you guys, you've brought up some really good points. So I really only have one question left for you, and to me, this is one of the most important. So what has been your most rewarding experience in balancing both academics and leadership?
So for me personally, leading up into this last semester before I joined SPAC, I was leaning towards international business, wanting to, work with, I was lucky enough to study abroad last year and got to go to Costa Rica and work with a marine conservation. And I was looking towards working with international conservations and stuff like that. And then because of the requirements for SPAC having service around the community and stuff, I started giving back and started donating my time to a food bank. And I realized that I want to focus on the homegrown issues here before I start looking out of the country.
Sure.
So it definitely, taking those leadership roles definitely led me towards what I want to do for a career.
I like that. That's really cool. It gives you upfront and personal experience for sure.
Yeah, I think for me, the most rewarding experiences have been when I've been able to, I'm an exceptional planner, but putting the plans into action are not always my strong suit. Like I can plan and plan and plan, but then when it comes time to do it, I like to just shift things around and just fly by the seat of my pants. So the most rewarding experiences have been when I've been able to successfully manage my time and work my routines to like come to the end of the semester and not feel like I'm collapsing, but like just like coasting through, like not coasting, like coasting's not the right word, but like I have endurance. I'm making it through. I'm not dead at the end of the semester. I have done what I've needed to do, and I've been on top of my stuff. That's been the most rewarding for me. And also I would say those experiences or opportunities where I've had to say no and look at what I already have on my plate and attend to those. That was a really big growth moment for me, because like I said, I just like said yes to everything. And so being able to have that awareness and say no to something to manage what I already have, and then come at the end of the semester and be like, this was a really successful go at what I have right now. So those were what I would say the most rewarding, because like Mahmoud said multiple times, the way that the experiences change you and grow you as a person, it's more than just like learning how to run a meeting or act professional. Like you really do grow and morph and change as a person and what you're capable of, what you're not, what's important to you. And I think that's probably the greatest thing I've gained from my experiences, is learning more about myself, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is.
And for me, like seeing me growing, so it's the best part, like I'm proud of. Like I guess it was on 2022 winter semester when I was on the SPAC group. Like, I got the chance to be on the stage with our president and with the Ana Navarro. So it was a proud moment for me because I came from 1,000 kilometers away, and I don't like English is not my first language, so I was so nervous. And when I see like being on the stage and see like hundreds of people like watching you, and like when I was able to finish that program like successfully, then I don't know like how can I explain it. Just boost my confidence, like and I'm more proud. Like I can't say like it's like. I guess I have never been this much proud of myself.
Sure.
So like seeing me growing, so is the best part.
That's good. That's really good. And I think individuality really lends itself to opportunities for growth and figuring out who you are as a person and that's what college is all about, right? Like everybody focuses so much on the academic side of it. It's not only the knowledge, the physical knowledge that you can gain by going to college, but it's also the growth as an individual, as a person. And sometimes that happens outside of the classroom, and balancing academics and leadership is incredibly important in how you can make sure that you're getting the most that you can out of your experience in college. And a lot of people will argue that there's not much to gain from social experience at a community college, but I would argue that they're wrong. And I might be a little biased because I work here and I went to school here at one point, but like, to me, from a student perspective and now from an employee perspective, you can see the rich culture that comes from community college and the different age groups and the different ethnicities and people from all over the world that come here. And we have a different version of the social experience than a four-year institution would have. But I would argue until I'm blue in the face about the fact that what you gain from it is the same. Mm-hmm. Those things are extremely valuable to you as a person and how you grow and how you learn, like Mahmouda said, what is important to you and the things that you can adapt and maybe go on later in your life and teach someone else, which I think is very important. So thank you guys for coming and having this lovely conversation. I like to hear your perspective and how you chose to balance these things. It's been a while since I've been in school, so I definitely don't have the best advice. So I like hearing from what you think is the right track for a student to start, especially first years. I think that that's really important. So if you guys, those that are listening, if you have any questions for us or you want to ask anyone here specifically about something that we've talked about today, please go ahead and you can just comment in the comment section below. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe so that you can hear more from the Bear Blast and all things related to MCC. But otherwise, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
And that is it for this episode of Bear Blast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Be sure to follow us so you're always in the know about what's happening at Mott. And for even more Bear content, check us out on TikTok and Instagram. Just search for MCC Student Life. Until next time, go Bears!